transition team, former U.S. Congressman from Michigan and former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Pete Hoekstra. Congressman Hoekstra is under possible consideration for CIA director. Good morning, Congressman.
Hey, good morning.
So, do you want the job as CIA director?
I'd take the job if Mr. Trump decided that someone with my kind of background and experience is what he wanted in the job. You know, this is a decision that Mr. Trump and the transition team will make, and I'll just kind of wait until they make that decision.
Of course you will. And have they reached out to you?
Yeah. I've talked to people in the campaign about, in the transition team, on a regular basis about a number of different things, but, you know, I'm not going to get into any specifics as to what we have talked about and what we have not talked about.
For the record, are you part of the transition team?
At this point in time, I'm an informal advisor to the transition team, and we're kind of working through the details as to what role I may play in the transition team as well.
Okay, so there's a lot that's undecided. Let's talk about some of the things that if you were to be named CIA director, what your policy would be. If you were the head of the CIA, would you use waterboarding as a tactic, as Donald Trump has said he would like to?
Well, I think, number one, if you move into the CIA and those types of things, what the responsibility of the CIA, the responsibility of the national security apparatus is to, you know, provide this president with the direction and the options that he needs to keep America safe, gathering the intelligence and those types of things to develop a level of confidence with the American people and develop a working relationship with the House and the Senate.
Yeah.
And specific questions as to waterboarding and all of those types of things, you know, Congress has spoken on that.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, you can't do it. And so if there was a decision to move in another direction and to perhaps do that, that'd be a process that you'd have to work through with Congress, and you'd probably do it in secret, and you probably wouldn't do it through the public process.
But are you personally comfortable with using waterboarding as a tactic?
You know, I was part of the Gang of Eight back in 2004. When Republicans and Democrats on the Hill were briefed about this practice. It never took place while I was on the Gang of Eight, you know, but at that point in time, we as a Gang of Eight, Republicans and Democrats, supported President Bush using those tactics at specific times where he would inform the Congress as to when he would be using it. Like I said, he never came to us and asked to use it while I was there. You know, and so moving forward in the future, that's a hypothetical, and we'll get there.
Well, no, I mean, it's not hypothetical. I'm actually asking what your position is. You have a position. So what I hear you saying is that you were part of the gang that supported using it. You would be okay with it.
I was part of the gang, which included Nancy Pelosi and others that supported that back in 2003, 2004.
And do you still support it?
Well, again, you have to take a look at specifically what is going on and what the circumstances are at any given situation as to where you would use it. I think that this will be a clear discussion between this administration and Congress to develop a long-term strategy in terms of how do we get the information that a president and a Congress needs to make the right decision to keep America safe.
Okay, next question. Now that it has been confirmed that Russia did intervene in the U.S. election, what should the U.S. and President-elect Trump's response be?
They should... Number one, we shouldn't tell the Russians that we are going to retaliate. One of these days, maybe the Russians will wake up and they'll be taking a look at something and they'll say, wow, I wonder what happened here. How did this happen? And they'll be left wondering whether it was the United States, whether it was some other hacking group, or whether it was something else that caused a problem within the U.S. Within Russia. But you don't send signals as to what you are going to do. There may be direct discussions between this president and Mr. Putin. There are a number of options, but what you don't do is you don't telegraph to the Russians and to others exactly what you may or may not do. Cyberspace right now is a new battlefield where the rules have not been very well defined, the boundaries haven't been very well set, and those boundaries, those rules are going to be set probably during this next administration.
Congressman Hoekstra, thanks so much for being on News.